Guys, holy shit. This week was one of the hardest weeks I've had in a very, very, very long time. I honestly felt completely overwhelmed the entire week. Like I'm talking like Monday morning hit and it was like overwhelmed the entire week. And usually for me, you guys know, like I love working. Like I love working 5, 10, 12, 15-hour days. So like as long as I absolutely need to. But this week, for some reason, just like I was just mad overwhelmed. I think there's a bunch of different reasons. So I'm just going to be open and share them with you guys. Like number one, the business is growing super rapidly right now. I'm starting to get inquiries on like all platforms at all times, even my emails, which is super weird. Like I don't even know where my email is listed, but I'm starting to get emails every single day about training on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. People are asking me on TikTok now what I'm doing. So it's like, because there's like a big influx, my DMs are always flooded. And then also with COVID, right? So COVID just caused all of the gyms to shut down where I'm from in Calgary, Alberta. So because all the gyms got shut down, there's not only trainers that are messaging me about like wanting to get their business started, but I'm also making sure that my clients are all in a really good mental place, because like with gyms getting shut down, there's some of my clients that had clients that might have lost their jobs or they're like low on income. So just trying to figure out like some pivots to game plans that my trainers can use in their coaching programs. Frankly, there's just like a lot of trainers right now that need a lot of help. And I completely understand, because like COVID's crazy. Like it's still here and we're still dealing with it. On top of that, like I just hired a couple more team members to help me with the team, like help me with management and help me with some operation stuff, hired a finance manager. So there's a lot of things going on, and we just launched the PT Domination website. And honestly, you guys, this week I felt completely fucking burnt out. For lack of a better term, I felt completely and totally 100% burnt out this week. And for me, in fact, I almost pressed cancel on my whole week. I'm just curious, really quick, before I get into this, who here has ever been so overwhelmed and so stressed out in their business that they literally just want to cancel everything that they're doing that week? Or everything that they're doing that day? They like look at, like, who here has ever looked at their to-do list and been like, I'm not going to do anything on that list. Like, I'm just like done. I'm just not going to, I'm just over it. There's no possible way. Like for me, it was overwhelming because I'd get through my massive to-do list. And then after I got through my massive to-do list, my day would be over at 9 p.m. And then I'm like, cool, I have another massive to-do list tomorrow. Like that's literally what it was from like Monday to Wednesday. I almost pressed cancel on my whole fucking week, straight up. Like, I was having a hard time, like looking at my phone. Every time I looked at my phone, I was like overwhelmed with anxiety. I was like having a hard time sitting down at my computer and just like working, having a hard time responding to messages that I actually like love responding to. Just like having a hard time in general, sitting down and working on my business. And my business, I fucking love working on my business. So for me to feel like so overwhelmed that I couldn't look at my phone was like it was a feeling that I haven't had in a really long time. So it's called overwhelm, and I think that there's a lot of online trainers that know how that feeling is and know what that experience is like. So I did have these feelings of wanting to cancel my whole week. But guys, I've been an entrepreneur now for 7 years. It's been a long time. And I've dealt with overwhelm in the past, and I know what the feeling is like. And so I felt these feelings kind of creeping in and like starting to take over. And then I had a conversation with one of my coaches in the academy. His name's Jeffrey Eden. Jeffrey, I don't know if you're listening to this right now, but this one is actually dedicated to you. And Jeffrey said something on our team meeting yesterday, Wednesday morning. And he said, bro, I heard this quote, and it basically goes like this. When you're overwhelmed, it's a sign that you're leveling up in your life. And I was like, it just kind of clicked. I was like, boom, that's fucking it. Guys, for me, even though I wanted to press cancel on my whole week, I disciplined myself this week and I made myself work through it. And I'm telling you guys, my to-do list from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was bigger than it's ever been, ever. It was so large. And then meetings kept coming in out of nowhere. I'm like, where the fuck? Like, I forgot I booked this meeting with this person. But I disciplined myself and I made myself work through it. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Every single work session that I had this week from Monday to Wednesday was painful. Every single one. There wasn't one time that I sat down to work and I'm like, I'm excited to work right now. Like every podcast that I did was challenging this week. Every single one. Every single one. It was like the podcast that I did yesterday. I did like a little pod chats in my community, which by the way, I'm stoked about. Like, I'm so happy to hang out with my clients. Before the podcast, 5 minutes before the podcast, I was sitting there and I was like, I want to cancel this. Like, I was just like feeling this like mad discomfort, overwhelm, anxiety. Every single work session that I did this week was painful. But I want to talk about this in the podcast because I want to share the way that I view my success in my life. Because I frankly think that too many online trainers press cancel when they get overwhelmed. Too many online fitness coaches just retreat when they get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed and they take it as a sign that they're on the wrong path. They're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing too much. Like, this is not good. I need to stop doing too much. Like, I need to stop, right? I need to back off. I'm pressing the gas pedal too much. I need to like chill. And there are times that might be true, but guys, for the most part, I think overwhelm, I want you guys to take notes on this. I think overwhelm is a sign of growing pains. So if you're tuning in right now, I want you to write that down. I think overwhelm is a sign of growing pains. So for me, every single podcast that I've done this week has been good. I did a podcast with Don. I did a podcast with Cole. I did a podcast with Corey. They were all fire. And the reason is that I don't allow my temporary feelings that I'm experiencing to dictate the success I'm having in my life. In fact, like PT Dom had one of its best weeks it's had in a very long time this week, even though it was one of the most overwhelming weeks that I've had in my entire life, because most people take overwhelm as a sign that they're on the wrong path. But for me, overwhelm is a sign of growing pains. For me, overwhelm is a sign that you're moving to the next level. I also think that for me, overwhelm is a sign that there's like a part of me that needs to die in order for me to elevate to this next level. So I'm going to be transparent with you. I had over 100 messages in my inbox, like pretty much every day this week, just like 100 messages. And I was attaching myself personally to every single I have this thing where I'm very like, those of you guys that are in my coaching program know this. I'm like a very emotional coach. So if you guys are talking to me, like I'll help you guys work through a lot of stuff. But this week specifically, that was like literally draining every single ounce of my energy. So I had to make the decision that part of me needed to die this week. I'm like, I need to detach myself from, being emotionally committed to every single outcome because I take everything personally. So if a client's winning, I'm like, that's amazing. I'm doing such a good job. And if a client's not winning, I'm like, I suck and I'm a bad coach. So I literally needed to detach myself from that part of myself so that I could handle the influx of people that needed my help. Because before this, like everybody that would message me, I'd try to give them help. And if they implemented it, I'd be like, I'm a great coach. And if they didn't, I'd be like, I'm a shitty coach. So I needed to detach myself from that part of my identity in order for me to step up and serve the clients that I was serving. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that because how many of you will message a client back and forth? And then if a client isn't doing their workout programs, you feel like you're doing a bad job. Like if a client isn't doing their meal plans, you feel like you're the one not eating the food and like you're kind of like doing the client a disservice because the client isn't ready to transform. So for me, overwhelm for me means that a part of me needs to die. And for some of you guys like that are listening to this podcast, if you're currently overwhelmed right now, it might not that might not be the part of you that needs to die, but there might be a part of you that is like holding on to something old that's causing you to stay stuck. So as an example, maybe you watch 3 to 5 episodes of Netflix a day. I'm just saying. And then that time that you're spending on Netflix is actually the time that's killing your business. Or as an example, overwhelm is a sign that a part of you needs to die. Maybe there's somebody in your environment right now that is fucking zapping your energy. And you're overwhelmed because even though you're like doing well in your business, this person in your environment is like literally sucking the life out of you. And you're allowing this to continue to happen. And so you're overwhelmed because you can't succeed because every time you succeed, you almost like feel guilty that this person's in your environment. And it's like that might be a part of you that needs to die. You need to find some sort of solution to that problem. Overwhelm, a part of you needs to die, might even just be your organization skills. So for like, if you're an online fitness coach right now and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're like, yo, fuck this, I want to give up. Maybe the reason that you're overwhelmed is because your organizational skills are currently shit. And like maybe you've like always struggled with organizational skills. But if you want to elevate and you want to go to the next level, then there's a part of you that needs to die in order for you to reach the next level. The best analogy that I like to use when it comes to like growing in your business is I always like to refer to nature. So in nature, I want you guys to think about like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? So caterpillar goes into this little cocoon. I'm not a fucking nature expert, by the way. I don't claim to be, but I just like I like the concept. So caterpillar goes in this cocoon, right? And then the caterpillar emerges and becomes a butterfly. My question is this. Do you think emerging from a fucking cocoon and transforming into a butterfly is a comfortable experience? Like, really though, like, do you think it's fucking comfortable to burst your ass out of a fucking cocoon? Like, do you think that's a comfortable experience? I've never been a caterpillar, so I can't personally attest to this, but I'm willing to assume that it's fucking not a comfortable experience. Leaving the cocoon probably sucks ass. I'm just saying, like, hashtag, if you're a caterpillar and you're listening to this, maybe you can give me some insight, but like that growth, like in order for the caterpillar to become the butterfly, like you need, like the caterpillar needs to emerge. It needs to evolve. It needs to like go through the discomfort and then become the butterfly, right? Change is fucking challenging, right? It's not, but the, like, and let's go back to nature for a second. The butterfly doesn't have to have a choice, right? Like for a butterfly, it's not like it can start to emerge out of the cocoon and be like, yo, this is fucking hard. I'm going back in. Like, yo, give me this fucking cocoon. I'm going to chill in here. Like this, I don't even want to fucking become a butterfly. This is hard as shit. But me and you, online fitness coach, we do have a fucking choice. And unfortunately, that's actually unfortunate that we have a choice. I wish we were forced to evolve because it would make success a lot easier for a lot of people. But most people, because they have a choice on whether or not they evolve, most people fucking retreat right back into their cocoon. It starts to get challenging. It starts to get overwhelming. And what do? Whew, I'm not going to post on social media for a couple of weeks. This is real hard. Oh shit, it's like real hard. Like I'm getting some no's on the phone. I'm not going to book any sales calls because this is hard. I don't like rejection. Man, I'm having a real hard time attracting leads. So I'm just not going to lead gen or network expand because this is hard. People are saying no to me. Me and you have a fucking choice. So unfortunately, we have a choice because I think that too many people, when they get overwhelmed, make the decision to press cancel. Too many people, when they get overwhelmed, make the decision to retreat back into their cocoon. Too many people, when they feel overwhelmed, just fucking give up, straight up. Most people, guys, when we're like, I view overwhelm as growing pains, right? Like it's like, that's a part of growth is overwhelm. And I think that because it's a part of growth, I think that some people this is like straight the fuck up, coming right at you. I think that some people are not ready for the uncomfortable shit that comes with growth, right? Like growth is hard. Like change is hard as fuck. Like if you've been lazy, I'm coming right at you guys. I'm like, permission to be direct, permission granted. I'm coming right at you. If you've been lazy as shit your whole life, and then you jump into a coaching program and they're telling you to post 3 to 5 times a week, but your ass like has only posted once before, like maybe once or twice a week before. And now it's like post 3 to 5 times a week. Like that's hard as shit. And so you either go through the like uncomfortableness of like, oh my God, this is challenging. And I don't know if I can do this. You either grow through it or you just retreat. And unfortunately, most people choose to retreat. And like, I want to talk to the people that are like willing to fucking willing to stick it out. Because if you're in my coaching program, I actually want you to know it doesn't matter how many fucking followers you have. It doesn't matter what your like current level of business is at right now. I actually believe that anybody that's in my coaching program can make $10,000 a month. I like actually 100% believe that. Because I have a client right now. He came on the podcast 4 days ago. His name is Don fucking Lamb. He has 2,000 Instagram followers and he's making $74,000 a month. So you can't tell me that you can't be successful because you have 1,000 followers and only 100 people watch your stories. Like you can't tell me that because I've seen clients with less followers and less engagement and less quote unquote physique, that like ideal physiques that just fucking crush it. And so I actually think that anybody is capable of making $10,000 a month in their online coaching business. But the reason that most people don't do it isn't because they're lacking the strategy. It's because they're lacking the resilience to go through the pains of overwhelm and go through the pains of growth. Guys, that's it. Literally, it's it. Like you have to fucking make the decision inside of your head that you're willing to go through pain. Like it's going to be challenging. And if you don't like the challenge, then there's always a 9-to-5 job that would be happy to hire you and you can just work there for the rest of your life. I don't fuck with that though. Like that's not a life that I want to live, period. I'm not even joking, you guys. When I worked at a gym, I was almost said the name. I probably said the name on the podcast because sometimes I just ramble. But I worked at a gym and I literally worked there for a fucking week. That's not a joke. Because I was like walking around, and I was talking to members on the floor and I was expected to sell for them. And then I found out how much I was making every time I sold them. I was like, yo, fuck that. Like I would rather do it on my own and completely fail and approach people on Instagram and Facebook than do it for you and you take 70% of my money. Like that's fucking crazy. Like I would rather go through all of the pain that is necessary with growth than play it safe and fucking stay in my little cocoon and work for a 9-to-5 with a secured and guaranteed income. Growth is hard as fuck. And so most people, when they're faced with overwhelm, make the decision to level down instead of level up. Guys, there was so my entire week shifted yesterday. It was like after the meeting with Jeff, which by the way, Jeff, you're a legend. I appreciate you. After the meeting with Jeff, I was going into my afternoon and I was still like dragging my ass from task to task. And then finally I like looked at my messages and I had over 100 DMs. I like looked at my messages and I looked at it and I was like, I'm being a pansy. I literally was like, I'm being a pansy. I'm like, and I'm fucking done with it. I'm like, I am a boss. I'm like, I'm running a successful business. I'm like, I'm going to handle this shit. I had over 100 DMs and there was a lot of problems. And I literally just like there's like a switch that went off in my mind. I was like, I'm fucking handling this right now. And I like set a timer for an hour and I sat down for an hour and I was like, I am not attached to any problems that are in my DMs. I'm going to fucking solve all of them. And I literally just powered through them like top to bottom. Like I went like every single one. And I just powered through the DMs. And there was just a switch that flipped inside of my mind. I was like, I'm a fucking boss and I'm going to handle my business. Period. That's it. And I think that like for me, like obviously if there's like a sign, overwhelm is a sign of growth and change. And so like I'm taking this overwhelm that I felt this week and I tell all my clients this, like for me, usually overwhelm is a sign that it's like you need to organize your workflow and you need to schedule your day a little bit better. And I think that is the case because I took on a TikTok project right now. By the way, if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, it's at bmarkinspires. I've gained 21,000 followers in the last like 16 days. So I'm like super passionate about TikTok right now. And I would say TikTok is probably a large part of my overwhelm because like I'm so passionate about it that I'm like making videos all the time. And I haven't factored that into my workflow yet. So I'm like, I just added this new project that I'm really excited about that's taking up 2 hours of my day with the old like workflow that I had. So it was like that. Plus I'm fucking building the website. Plus I hired 3 new team members and like my work schedule hasn't really changed. So I need to make some shifts. So obviously coming into next week, I plan on evolving and making changes in my business. But online fitness coaches, this is for fucking you, all right? Overwhelm is a sign that you are growing. Overwhelm is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. And I think that too many online coaches are taking their overwhelm as a sign that they need to retreat back into their cocoon and play it safe. Playing it safe is the easiest way to guarantee your ass stays at a 9-to-5, period. And guys, every single work session I had this week was painful. Every single one. There wasn't a single fucking thing that I did this week that wasn't like challenging. All I wanted to do was press cancel on my week. And guys, I'm going to be completely honest. I've been an entrepreneur for 7 years. I've pressed cancel on my week dozens and dozens of times. Dozens. Like I've literally canceled everything in my schedule countless times. Who here has done that? Just so I'm like, just full transparency. Who here has canceled everything on their schedule before? Because I have. I literally just canceled like multiple times. But then what happens when you cancel everything on your schedule? You just create more fucking work for yourself because as soon as you get back to work, you're like, oh, cool. Like I have all these things that I have to do this week and I have to play catch up on everything that I did last week. So like, it's just not a fun experience. Overwhelm is a sign that you are growing. Overwhelm is a sign of growing pains. Overwhelm is not a sign that you should be retreating. Overwhelm is a sign that you should be evolving. You should be making changes. You should be finding a way to progress. Overwhelm, for me, it's like, if you're overwhelmed right now, that's fucking good. That means you're doing something that's challenging your old ways of life. You're challenging your old beliefs. You're challenging your old habits. And like, maybe you're overwhelmed because you've never done Facebook Lives before. And now your ass is challenging yourself to go on Facebook Lives. And it makes you so anxious that you want to piss yourself. You still have to do the Facebook Live. Like, just because you're overwhelmed doesn't mean you quit. Like, one of my favorite people in the universe, Eric Thomas, he talks about like how a student comes into his office and the student was crying. And Eric Thomas is like, well, fucking cry and keep going. Like, you're already in pain. You may as well get something from it. So if you're overwhelmed and you just retreat back into your cocoon because you're not feeling good, like, you're just going to be stuck in the exact same place next week. And you're going to feel guilty about the fact that you pressed cancel. For fucking me, I actually woke up this morning and it's Thursday morning. I woke up this morning proud as fuck of myself because I had a crazy busy week, crazy busy. And I didn't cancel anything, even though every single voice in my head was telling me to. It was like, bro, like, you are working way too hard. You need to chill out. You need to relax. You need to, like, you put out 300 podcasts already. You don't need to put out another one today. You can press your clients will understand. Guys, I don't play that fucking weak game anymore. I used to. I don't play that game anymore. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to change. And I'm willing to go through any pain that is necessary, that is associated with that change, because I'll do whatever the fuck it takes to be successful. And that's what I want for you too. And I understand that, like, there's a lot of you guys that tune into the podcast, and maybe there's only one person that's going to actually hear what the fuck I'm saying to you guys right now, but your success is your responsibility. And so if you are currently overwhelmed right now, and I'm talking to you, if you're currently overwhelmed right now and you're like stressed about money at the end of the month, or you feel like you're doing way too much, or you're on social media a lot more than you usually were, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, good fucking job. Like, you're challenging yourself. That's why you're overwhelmed. Then you need to ask yourself, like, what's causing this overwhelm? Is it because I suck at scheduling? Like, is my workflow shit? Or maybe it's because I have somebody negative in my life that's zapping my energy. What is it? Is it because you're watching way too much Netflix and you're chilling? Maybe you're overwhelmed because you're spending way too much time inside of your mind and not enough time in action. And so you're thinking about all the things you could do with your business, but you're not doing shit. And then all these ideas are sitting inside of your head and causing you overwhelm because you haven't taken any action. That'll be overwhelming for sure. Overwhelm is a sign that you are on the right path, online fitness coach. Do not give up. Do not retreat back into your cocoon where it's safe and comfortable. Go harder. Overwhelm is a sign that you need to go harder. Overwhelm is a sign that you're getting called to the next level. Overwhelm is a sign that you need to evolve, that you need to change. And now it's on you. Make a decision. If you're overwhelmed right now, are you going to retreat back into your cocoon where it's safe and comfortable, or are you going to make the decision to move to the next level?